This week, the United States Supreme Court rejected a case that would have, one, completely lifted the gag order against Donald Trump from the hush money case, and two, would have delayed his criminal sentencing until after the election or possibly even further down the road. And the Supreme Court looked at this legal complaint, this appeal, and they said, no, like, we're not even going to listen to this because this is so dumb. Now, technically, the Supreme Court did not give a reason for their denial of this appeal. They just denied it and said bye-bye. But here are the specifics of this absolutely brain-dead lawsuit. It was brought by the state of Missouri. And in their complaint, the state of Missouri said this: Missouri respectfully submits that the foregoing violations establish considerable harms to voters and electors in Missouri who will be precluded from fully engaging with and hearing from a major party presidential candidate in the run-up to the November election, said Joshua Devine, Missouri's Solicitor General. And then they continued. Nothing is more destructive to the health of a democracy than distrust in the outcome of an election, and yet New York has brought transparently weak charges for the transparent purpose of trying to impose political damage against Trump and trying to restrain his ability to campaign in advance of an election forecasted by the polls to be very close. Now, it's important to remember that they had filed this in June, I believe it was. And yeah, back in June, the polls were pretty close. They're not close anymore. I mean, Kamala Harris is now beyond the margin of error ahead of Donald Trump. She's winning this thing right now. And it's not like, oh, it's just the Harris honeymoon. No, because her polls continue to get better. Like, this is the longest honeymoon anybody's ever had in the history of honeymoons, okay, if that's what it is. But New York responded and said, allowing Missouri to file this suit for such relief against New York would permit an extraordinary and dangerous end run around former President Trump's ongoing state court proceedings and the statutory limitations in this court's jurisdiction to review state court decisions. But it's important to remember, they weren't just saying, well, you can't sentence him before the election because then, you know, that's going to prejudice the people in the state. They also said he's not allowed to talk to us because of the gag order. Most of the gag order has been lifted. He's just not allowed to talk about the family members of the court staff. Yeah, he can talk about the case. He can go after the witnesses now. There is nothing preventing him from talking about the facts of this case. He can talk about the jurors. He can go after them. He can go after the witnesses. He can go after everybody except the family members of the people who work in the court. Okay? That's not a violation of his freedom of speech. It is not in any way impeding his campaign. I mean, if anything, Donald Trump probably doesn't want to talk about it because, you know, reminds people that he has 34 felony convictions against him and that he is facing criminal sentencing on September 18th. But Missouri tried and Missouri failed. Rightfully so. Because this was absolutely stupid. But you know what's even dumber? Let me read you this from Courthouse News Service. The court did not explain its denial. Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito indicated they would have allowed Missouri to file its case at the court, which is in line with previous fights between states. So, of course, Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito said, well, we kind of wanted to hear it. We would have let them do it. Of course you would, because you two activists in black robes do not care about actual law. You do not care about jurisprudence. You do not care about any of that. You care about protecting Republicans because Republicans put you where you are, and by God, that's the only thing that matters. These two numbskulls have to be off of this court, which of course gives us all the more reason to make sure that we get out and vote for Harris and Walz in November. Otherwise, Alito and Thomas may retire in the next 4 years, and Trump will be the one picking their replacements. That's a horrifying thought, isn't it? Well, if you think it is, you know which ticket to vote for now. Hi, everyone. This here is little Athena. And Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet. So please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.